Okay, Salakia. Hopefully the audio was there. But Kalalalyamla, Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, Hashem Kodash, the blessed of the apostles of Great Millstone, Shalom to the Akim pushing this word sincerely and in truth. This is Kazak from GMS Jamaica, and we have a quick lesson here. Um, Surrounding the times that we are in, according to Christian doctrine, and one of the wayward Christian doctrine them is the rapture. Now, um, the brother we I see on the screen, based off some looking into this recent debacle, this recent uproar about the rapture. I've come to find out on the screen is responsible for this, this recent rapture, um, the antics. Now, where's the rapture from? All right. No, they would point to Christians would point to uh First Thessalonians 4:17. So I gotta get that as the first precept. So okay. All right. No, it says, then we, First Thessalonians 4:17, then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. All right. And let me read it in the NLT. It says, then together with them, we who are still alive and remain on the earth will be caught up in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air. Then we will be with the Lord forever. Now, where does the rapture come in this scripture? We're gonna go to the blue, so like in that blue letter, but we're gonna go to the the Strong's. All right. Now, if you get the word or the phrase right here that says caught up, all right, that's G726. All right, you get the Greek word harpazo. All right, and it says to seize, carry off by force, to seize on, claim for oneself eagerly, to snatch out or away. Now, in Latin, the harpazo was translated as rapturo, right? Rapturo, which is where the term rapture comes from. Now, according to the scriptures, yes, we're gonna be caught up in the clouds with Yahweh when he return. However, that is not referring to um a pre-tribulation or an escape from tribulation. I mean, there is no escaping the tribulation that is to come on the earth, right? Whether you are an Israelite or not, right? Everybody have to go through the tribulation that is to come on the earth. You know what I mean? So, let's see. I'll go for again. So, okay. Oh yeah. So I'm gonna show you where the caught up, cause when um when the destruction come, right? It tell you it mentioned in a Psalms, but may I get it in a Revelation. Revelation 15. 15. Right? This is Revelation 15:1. It says, and I saw another sign in heaven, great and marvelous, 7 angels having the 7 last plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of God. And I saw as it were a sea of glass mingled with fire, and them that have gotten the victory over the beast and over his image and over his mark and over the number of his name stand on the sea of glass, having the harps of God. Right now, this is referring to when we get caught up in the chariots, right? Just as the destruction is happening, um, and this is right after the tribulation, when World War III broke loose, and you have the nuclear missiles falling, right, to burn the earth, to burn Babylon, right? Then we're gonna be caught up and escape the destruction seen. However, when it comes to tribulation, we most definitely have to go through the tribulation, right? And we're gonna get that. Um, as a matter of fact, let me just get Psalms real quick. It's um, it's thousand shall fall at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh thee. Why it shall not come nigh thee? Right? Because we're gonna be delivered at that time, at the last trump, as the scripture said. What I mean? We're gonna be caught up in the chariots or delivered, by way of the chariots. You see me? As birds flying, so shall the Lord defend Jerusalem. There's many, many, many scriptures um where that detail and highlight how salvation, will take place. Seen? And this is how we know, say, the scriptures, the Bible is not for Christians. Christians is not for the Bible. Them don't know nothing about the Bible. Right? Which is why you have so many offshoot of Christianity as well. What I mean? Because some and it's always started by some individual, where feel like, say, yo, them not like a certain part of the doctrine, so them go off and make them own, start them own church. That's why you have Pentecostal, you have Baptist, you have Adventist, you have Seventh-day Adventist, you know, all started. You have, you have Mormonism, seen, you have Jehovah's Witness, seen, because an individual did not like a certain part or did not agree with a certain part of of the doctrine, Christian doctrine, them decides that them a go do them own thing and add in them own teachings. Seen, and this is totally against the scriptures. No, no, as it pertains to rapture, as you can see, the brother in the video, he must say, oh, in 3 weeks. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna highlight something. The video was posted on the 29th of August. You know what I mean? And he must say him is a billion% sure that um Jesus is coming back. He might come deliver, he might come rapture, caught up, whosoever forget caught up. You know what I mean? But again, as me say, that is totally against scripture. You know what I mean? Let me get so as I said before, the tribulation is something that the entire world are gonna face. You know what I mean? You're gonna have um once World War III breaks out, the war of Armageddon according to the scriptures, once that happens, everybody is gonna face it. Right? There's not gonna be any safe havens in the earth. As according to them, there's a lot of people out there that say, oh, this Sweden might go be the safest place during World War III. Singapore, a list of countries that them have that them claims are gonna be safe in World War III, which uh you know there's gonna be there's gonna be because the elites them will push World War III. Of course, them are gonna have certain places where them are gonna claim as safe havens for themselves, right? So that them can come out victorious after the war. Them and them families safe. Them can come out after the world population drop, because them want to drop the world's population to a controllable number. Right? If you go back to the Georgia Guidestones, 500 million. Yeah. Um. Right. They want to drop the world's population down to a controllable number. So yeah, therefore them gonna have safe havens for themselves and whosoever might survive. Them after everything, them come out on top and rule over the people. Uh, yeah. No, as me say, as I said before, this tribulation is something that the entire earth have to go through. Whether you're an Israelite or not. Seeing, and if Israel are gonna have them own special punishment during the time of tribulation, what we said the other nations, yo. Seeing. All right, this is Jeremiah 30 and verse 7 says, Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. All right. So yeah, Israel gonna be saved, but we have to go through it. We have to pass under the rod according to Ezekiel. You know what I mean? We have to face that last lick, so to speak, and then we're gonna be succored or comforted, delivered, seen, whereas the other nations gonna be destroyed. Yeah. Um yeah, and the elites them as well, you know, going back to the whole safe haven point that I was making, them have to survive, I mean, them have to survive, the tribulation, so that after Yahushua defeat um the nation and subdue the earth, guess what I'm gonna send for these so-called elites, right? As the scripture say, or them kings are gonna be bind in a chains and fetters of iron. Seeing, they're gonna be the first captives of the new Israel, um, of New Jerusalem, basically, right? Them gonna be the first captives, the first set of slaves, servants. Seeing, them I forgot answer for them crimes against Israel, against Yasharallah. Let me use the term Yasharallah instead, because we don't want them to get this thing confused with the small hats, right? So yeah, them are gonna be the first set of slaves, under the new Yasharala government, right? Now, let's get now according to Matthew 24 and verse 36, right? Because the whole point of the video is this rapture madness. What I must say, we got those who gonna be caught up and saved before the tribulation comes, right? And a set time frame. But according to the scriptures, as a matter of fact, let me read something else first. Let me read this is Deuteronomy 4 and 2. It says, Ye shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of Yahweh your God which I command you. Right? So we're not supposed to add nothing to the doctrine. Right? We're not supposed to take anything from the doctrine either. Seeing, if the scriptures give us a clear um a clear commandment, right? That's how we're supposed to follow right through until the end. Right? The scriptures detail Jacob's trouble, right? It detail a time of war, a time of unrest. It's in a time of darkness and gloominess. Everybody have to face. Seeing, it's a time where everybody have to go through, yo. See, so this whole rapture doctrine, it's not making no sense. It not go hand in hand with the scriptures, none at all. See, so go back to Matthew 24 and 36. Alright, it says, but after they, Salakia, Matthew 24 and 36. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark. Right, and that is very um parallel. Yeah, that's the word I'm more use. Parallel to what's happening in this current timeline. Seen, because right now everybody is just focusing on themselves. Them are focused on, enjoying life. Right. The new thing now is to get rich. Everybody wanna get rich. They wanna get rich as quick as possible. Some turn to scamming, some turn to hustling. Seeing, everybody want to get rich. Everybody want to enjoy life, right? Regardless of the things that are coming at the news, regardless of the threat of World War III. You know what I mean? Regardless of um the the the, the threat of famine, right? Everybody just want to enjoy right now. Them just want a little piece of the fun, right? See, the need for comfort has clouded the eyes of the people. You know, we're and according to the scriptures, still, the Most High is really the one who, set it that way there, because some people just not forget it. Some people just not learn. Some people just, just for stay in ignorance forever. All right, until the time of deliverance comes. You know, but yeah, and this goes and again, the scripture, let me just it goes hand in hand with what it says in Thessalonians, even in a Matthew same way, right? It says, as a thief, right? The Lord are gonna come back as a thief, so no man now gonna know the time. Seeing, everybody are got busy doing them own thing, so nobody now gonna be thinking about that, right? So there is no way you can put a time upon the Lord's return. See, you can watch the signs, right? Because there will be signs. See, there will be signs, right? And we watch those signs as the prophets of the Lord, right? Whether I want be, geopolitics, world news, um, watch, the laws where I get passed, the so-called initiatives, them, the yeah, the technological advancements, right? The digital system that's being set up, right? Sustainable development goals, which if you really know, if you really understand, you know, how these devils work, which are the nation of Edom, or the so-called white man. Yeah, if you understand how them money do things, um, when you dig and go all the way back to when the term New World Order was popular, you know what I mean? If you follow the timeline coming up to now, you will see say them still, even though that not get mentioned anymore, them still work towards that new world order, which is why you have certain things, them talk about certain things like climate change, um, sustainable development goals, agenda 20, agenda 20, wait, name again. Um, agenda 21, no, not agenda 21, vision 2030, yeah, vision 2030, and all of these, these few, the great reset, all of these terms that seem to look towards development, certain developments and changes for future society, it is all under the guise of the New World Order, right? It is all the same thing. See, in there, just the name change basically, right? Um, yeah, I think one more precept, one last precept, because again, according to the rapture doctrine, right? You're gonna be caught up and live in a heaven, be the first crop of heaven dwellers. But really and truly, the Lord that come subdue the earth to basically reign upon the earth. You know what I mean? If it was a case where um we're gonna be in heaven or living in heaven in the clouds according to Christian doctrine, then there wouldn't be a need for the Lord to come back. There wouldn't be a need for the Lord to return to earth. He could have just caught up all who deserve to go to heaven and just leave the earth be. Seen? But that's not the case. The earth needs to be reset and brought back to its original purpose, which is for Israel. Right? The earth was created for Israel. Seen? And we're gonna be rulers, we're gonna be kings and priests upon the earth. We're gonna rule over the other nations with a rod of iron. Yeah. So gonna read this last precept and then we can wrap it up. This is Revelation 5 and 10. Um Salah. 9 it says, and they sung a new song, saying, thou art worthy to take the book and to open the seals thereof, for thou wast slain and hast redeemed us to God by the blood by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation, right? And this is not, don't get this confused with the Christian doctrine we say, oh, every nation can be saved. You know what I mean? It just a refer to Israel being scattered among all nations. All right, so you have Israelites speaking different languages, looking like different nations, living among different nations. All right, according in Hosea, I'd say Israel is now among the nations, just to paraphrase, you know, just to paraphrase, such as a vessel, um, not desired, something like that, right? But really and truly, it is just referring to Israel being scattered among the other nations, not the nations themselves, you know. It says, and hast redeemed us to God by thy blood out of every kindred and tongue and people and nation, and hast made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. Right? Not sleeping in heaven and drinking milk and honey. We shall reign on the earth, meaning we are going to rule over. Right? We all know what reign means. Seeing? And there has to be somebody to reign over. Right, so with that, hopefully this lesson was edifying. Once and give all praises, Kalalaliam Laya, Bashim, Shai Bashim, Kodash, the apostles of great stone. Shalom to the Akim pushing this word sincerely and in truth.